After examining certain action films such as Inception, James Bond, The Spectre, and I, Robot, the principal conventions in a typical action-based movies are the cat-and-mouse chase scenes, the protagonist versing the antagonist, foreshadowing of death or deaths of loved ones, non-diegetic sounds with upbeat and suspenseful soundtracks, and are always located in big inner cities. The mainstream conventions of an action genre film are displayed in our film opening in a variety of ways. Most successful action films have a sequence of different chase scenes ending in a dead end. Our film opening has used different conceptions of one chase scenes to make the film develop at a faster pace. The use of chase scenes help the film to be more intense and unpredictable, therefore it can end in sympathy or victory. Also, heartbeats and heavy-breathing non-diegetic soundtracks are used simultaneously with the mise-en-scene. This allows the audience to be more engaged with the film, as the pace, mise-en-scene and storyline all work together to build up tension. In Batman, the soundtrack The Chase is playing, which is dramatic and upbeat, securing an intense atmosphere. The music slowly builds up as the climax gets closer, developing the audience's mind to feel more engaged with hints of suspense. Adding on, for an action film to be more successful, the characters in them tend to be believable, despite the film being unrealistic. For our film opening, we figure out that the protagonist, Mr. Watkins, is now a normal person whose hidden past is now influencing his present and future. Normally, the main good guy has companions that are innocent and lack potential. However, we added a little twist in our film opening and had the bad guy, Patrick, to confront Mr. Watkins with his companion. In Skyfall, the main protagonist controls the action and the villain has a menacing demand, with failure of leading the situation. However, in our film opening, we allow the villain to take control of the main protagonist, so it allows the audience to be more engaged and see what will happen next. In majority of action films, it's always the two opposing characters who have a conflict and believe that they both have high authority. In our film, The Vendetta, the two main characters turn from best friends to worst enemies, bringing in conflicts within their two different lifestyles. In a sense, it could be argued that the protagonist has more power than the antagonist, yet Patrick seems to be the one taking control. This scene would emphasize a further development of the film and would help trigger the target audience to watch the full film. Furthermore, the location in many action films are based in the inner big cities, such as The Spectre. The film opens with the inner city of Mexico, creating an atmosphere that can be suitable for an action film. The bigger the space in the location shot, the better the scenes flow together, as there are many areas of the same location used. In our film, we used central London, which allowed us to vary the areas in the region. We used a skate park under the Queen Elizabeth Hall and a cafe that allowed the setting to be realistic, as it's in a busy and urban area, fitting with the London hectic lifestyle. One way in which we challenge form and conventions in our film opening is the stereotype of gender and ethnicity and how we use them to develop our film opening. Nowadays, most media products present a character who is a detective or part of the higher class agents as being a white male, especially in British films. For example, in Mission Impossible, the main character, Ethan Hunt, is portrayed as a high ability agent. You will not commonly see other ethnicity agents for an action genre film. Another real media product that is evidence to the point are the Taken film series, where Liam Neeson is playing the role of a Central Intelligence Agency officer. He, again, is presented to be a white and as a higher ability agent. However, in our film, Mr. Watkins is seen as a weaker or helpless character, even though he is thought to have more power and status to the typical good versus bad concept. We develop his character by him being seen as a character who has moved on from the negativity and crime world into a respected citizen. From the film opening, we can see that Mr. Watkins was once an evil character, yet the audience can feel sympathy for him as he has developed to be mature and live a normal life. Furthermore, our film opening stuck to the stereotypes of black people being involved in crime, as it makes it more easy for the target audience to understand. The use of this stereotype allows the audience to judge which character they should support without having to think much. Many films use this ethnic stereotypes of black young males are dangerous criminals, which we believe helps to promote the genre of the film. The role of Patrick agrees to the stereotype of someone who lives in the inner city or is hidden near the suburbs. They are seen to dress up in a casual, untrending clothing. In our film, the outfits for the thugs didn't go with the stereotype, hence made the opening to be seen as unplanned. The visual portrait of this ethnic stereotype is not efficient, yet the idea of black goons has been presented via stereotypical lines.
Generally speaking, our media project has a mixture of stereotypical and countertypical characters. One example of this is the character of Rick. He is a very stereotypical character. He is a young black man who is a rather violent character. Most young black men are stereotyped as criminals and very aggressive, so in that aspect, he is very stereotypical. One character who is very countertypical is the character of Mr. Watkins. He is also a young black man who breaks the stereotype of black men being aggressive because he is a very calm and calculated individual, and he is trying to leave a life of crime and live a life as a law-abiding citizen. These two characters are on two opposing sides of the stereotype. Rick conforms with the stereotype, whilst Mr. Watkins challenges it. The studio that would distribute our media product would be 20th Century Fox. One product that has a similar opening was Romeo and Juliet. The shootout at the petrol station heavily includes gang culture. Gang culture is a strong theme in our product. Due to these similarities, I believe 20th Century Fox would be the most suitable for our media product. A more recent example of this studio producing a project with similar themes would be Hitman, Agent 47, released in 2015, as both of our media projects followed the story of an assassin. So this shows that 20th Century Fox has used that kind of storyline before and wouldn't shy away from it. Also, the audience would understand what type of film it is just by having it distributed by 20th Century Fox, as 20th Century Fox is a very mainstream company, so people would go to see the film who would otherwise not be able to see it.
Another question in our questionnaire was the age range in which people watch action movies. This question was very significant as it contributes to the location we used in the film. The results showed us people between 15 to 24 are more likely to be watching action films. With this information, we used this to determine which locations we are going to be using. The results showed us that teens and young adults are more likely to be watching action films. Therefore, we set the scenes in urban and modern areas such as central London and a very urban skate park. These locations would appeal to both young adults and teens. For example, the skate park. The skate park is mainly populated by young teens, therefore would be very appropriate as a location for our movie. We attracted audiences by creating a questionnaire which asked important questions to do with our film. One of these questions were, in action movies, which scene did you prefer most? The highest picked scene was fight scenes. Due to this, we included this in our film to attract these specific audiences. The second most enjoyed scene in action films were chase scenes. Due to this, we included this into our film, as it also creates a suspense and makes the film a bit more upbeat.
During the process of creating our film opening, I have learned and developed a lot of understanding on the platform of technologies. First of all, creating the blog was a major factor to build and construct a film opening, as it helped to keep on track of the progression and also stated what the next steps are. The blog is a development template of our journey of our film opening when we first got a preliminary task. None of the members in our group knew what to do when it comes to shooting and editing. However, as much as it was a challenge, I got used to the format of Final Cut Pro, which allowed us to make a short preliminary task video and gain many skills. Technology in terms of editing has overall given me a wider range of skills than other factors such as shooting, camera use and functions, and using the green rooms. My major part was involved in editing of the different footages given to me by my team members who were in charge of the filming. During this procedure, I developed a variety of skills and a deeper understanding of editing. The term editing can be branched in different groups according to the construction of the film opening. One major factor that I believe has been developed significantly is trying to flow the different footages together. As you can see from the film opening, different footages has been used to construct a somewhat action-based film opening with the conventions of an action film. As stated, most action films, for example James Bond, the SPECTRE, use a sequence of chase scenes and flow them as a montage to create a tense fictional atmosphere. I believe our film opening tried to copy this code and created a cat and mouse chase scene. A skill that I learnt while constructing these different footages were that I could use a rewind shot and flow with the real shot to make things seem overdramatic. As fake as it seems, it looks like something that would be used in a real film opening to signify action. Also, the different transitions help to flow the scenes together when the formation of the screen is not similar. Another principal platform that evolved during the construction of our film opening is diegetic and non-diegetic sounds. The diegetic sounds like dialogue and the urban sounds were voiceovers, allowing the voices to be heard. However, the more challenging area was the non-diegetic sounds. I believe this was a major challenge I faced throughout editing of our film opening, as finding copyright soundtracks were very difficult. Many different websites and soundtracks were explored until I found the right one, which fit into the footage properly. Some tracks were too fast or upbeat, or others were too mysterious and suspenseful. To find the soundtrack that matched with the mise-en-scene has allowed me to think outside of the box and think of the matter more morally than initially. I had to question myself multiple times what type of soundtrack would I expect at this specific moment of time. Only then I had the correct mindset of the type of soundtrack to use. Furthermore, to cut and blade parts of the downloaded soundtrack and fade the track in or out on specific levels, and how loud the sound should be was another matter itself. Adding on, to shoot the short movie, it's essential to have a good quality camera lens with different angles explored. I believe this is one of the major aspects that our group failed overall, as most of the footage was not in sync or was not shot professionally. I think that we required a more stable camera, and the angles explored should have been more in-depth and focused. To an extent, the footage I received was all unprofessional, hence made it difficult to match cut the shots, therefore not a lot of media cinematography was displayed and exhibited in our movie, as majority of the shots used were medium shots at 180 degrees on the horizontal point of view. I believe to improve our film opening we needed more cinematography skills and focus more on lighting and planning of the film, as well as the shots used. However, as well as the cons, the principal skill learned is that with the making of the film, the storyboard and script can be improvised majorly. This skill has taught me more independence, which in terms of media skills is important. Lighting for our film was high key as it was set in an urban area with a relatable lifestyle of the protagonist. The camera used was a Samsung phone, which was able to capture the lighting and the emotions of the characters in our film opening. A skill developed through the 8 weeks of our journey is that the angle and shot used with the skills can create a simple sequence into a more professional one when all the factors are maintained, for example, costumes, lighting, sounds, and etc. For next year, I believe more camera shots are required with decent lens to shoot a professional scene. From the beginning of this course to the full product, a variety of skills have been explored and developed. When we first began this project, we had been set a preliminary task with the purpose of getting familiar to the functions of Final Cut Pro. I can now see the development made from the beginning to the end. When we started the preliminary task, we had very little understanding of technology and media competences. Our prelim task required us to make a short clip in the green room with a table, having a minor dialogue scene. We had to do this task as it would help us get in preparation for our final product and help us get familiarized with Final Cut Pro. We were given certain shots that we had to use in our prelim task. These were shot reverse shot, match on action, and to not break the 180 degrees rule. Looking back at our prelim task, we can see the effort needed to make a successful footage. We started with planning different ideas and eventually coming up with a script that the actors could easily follow. This task was crucial for the preparation of our film opening, as the script for our film opening gave the storyline to our film. During the shooting of the prelim task, we were given a digital camera and roughly 10 minutes to shoot. The digital camera has taught me how important it is to use a tripod, but also essential to get a good lens camera or a more professional camera, as it will have a major direct effect on the quality of the final product. The requirement of using the shot reverse shot, match on action, and to maintain the 180 degrees rule has taught me that all these three factors allow us to produce a natural looking scene which is easily understood by the audience as they all flow together. Adding on, from the prelim task, I had developed that staging has a very crucial element in the production of our film opening. Staging requires to know where we are going to shoot and what angles and where the shots will be taken. Staging also involved the efficiency of the shooting. This in the prelim task was straightforward as it was set in the green room, however for the final product staging was more complex. This required more planning of the locations that would be used and also how to conduct certain angles and shots. In our film opening, not many shots are used, yet there are attempts to conduct media skills such as panning, extreme close-ups, 180-degree angle shots, and low angles. From the prelim task till the final product, a lot of skills have been explored. One key reason for a successful film opening is to have a strict time frame which everyone in the group follows. We did not have a time frame with the day and time of certain works to be conducted, therefore the final piece was not as professional. Having and keeping to deadlines is a chief element in the real media industry.